Hey everyone, it's Nate. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 305 of The Vinyl Guide, the podcast for record collectors and music nerds. And today we have on the show Mr. Dale Crover, who I'm sure you know from Melvins, possibly Altamont, his solo works, even played a few songs on the Nirvana catalog. Today, Dale talks about all of those areas, plus a whole lot more. Lots of stories about the early days, the records of Melvins, the collectability of some of the titles, the limited record runs he makes with Joyful Noise recordings, a bit of talk about the early days with Kurt Cobain, Fecal Matter, and more. Dale is always an entertaining interview, and today he'll cover all of those topics as well as the new Melvins LP, Five-Legged Dog, a 36-song album across 2 CDs and 4, count 'em, 4 vinyl records. Songs we all know and love from Melvins, done acoustically and available October 15th. Vinyl will be a few months more because, well, that's just the way it goes with vinyl these days, but you'll want to order yours now at melvinsofficial.bandcamp.com. And hey, we all love Melvins here on the Vinyl Guide. I'm a collector myself. I got a heap of rare and interesting stuff from the band, and I'll be posting many of my Melvins rarities this week on our Instagram page. Follow us at Vinyl Guide if you don't already. And hey, why not post your own rare Melvins vinyl pressings too, and tag us at Vinyl Guide. I would love to see what you got. And hey, really quick, I gotta thank our show sponsors, Groove Washer, makers of the best record cleaner on earth. Ask your local record shop for the Groove Washer by name and get it from them. But if they don't stock it, Google up Groove Washer and buy it from an online shop that does, or just go to groovewasher.com and use discount code VinylGuide10 at checkout. That's groovewasher.com, discount code VinylGuide10. And we're also sponsored by AudiophileuSA.com, the online record shop that only sells excellent and near mint vinyl records. Over 42,000 titles in stock at AudiophileuSA.com. Go search their site by artist, genre, record label, and more. Dig in and find the deals at AudiophileuSA.com. That's AudiophileuSA.com, home of the Holy Grails. And now, with all the business done, let's talk to Mr. Dale Crover of Melvins.
Hello.
Hello,
How's it
Mr.
going?
Crover. Dr. Crover, I should say.
That's right. Doctor. Hold on. I'm trying to get my screen going here.
How are you?
I'm very well. Yes, professional.
I could tell. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on. I'm a huge fan and collector of Melvins and solo stuff. So do you mind if we get a little bit nerdy today?
No, not at all. We're total nerds. and we make stuff for nerds. So
you do, and there's a lot of nerds. You know your nerd market pretty well.
Yeah, I mean it's stuff that we like, that we as fans would want to collect. So we understand the whole collecting thing. Both Buzz and I collect all kinds of crap. Toys, things like that.
Okay.
Oddities.
So you're a collector as well. Things
we
beyond
used to, at one point in our career, we would tour and have like a big rider truck for our gear. And there'd be all this extra space. So we would go to antique malls. Before eBay, there was antique malls all over the place that you'd find great stuff, all kinds of stuff. I mean, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Oddity stuff, toys, all kinds of stuff, weird furniture, just anything. I don't know.
Okay, so you walk into an antique mall. Where do you start to look first? What holds your interest above anything else?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's different now because now obviously with eBay, those things are picked over and, it's not like how it used to be, but just, I don't know. I remember I was in an antique mall outside of Atlanta, and I found this doll, and it was like, wow, this is really weird. And it was like, she had this black eyeliner on and blonde hair, and was wearing like this like striped shirt and had black socks. I'm like, what the hell is this? And I look at it, and it's like this Mattel doll, and it says like Scuba Doo. I'm like, wow. And it used to talk, but it doesn't talk anymore. And then Buzz sees me. He's like, "Ooh, are you buying that? Wait, where'd you get that?" It was like a beatnik doll from like about 1964. And he has some. I think I have 3 or 4 of them. But he's got one that works, and she says really cool stuff like, "Wow, dig my crazy black stockings," or like, "Hey man, when are we gonna have lunch?" And then she scats as well. Scuba dibba 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 bop bop. Actually, there's a song on A Walk with Love and Death that it's her.
Oh,
I think it's even called Scuba Doo, and
it has the actual recording of it.
Yeah, we got everything that she says on tape, and then made this like jazz song behind her.
That's great. And look, I love the irreverence of the band, and I'm also a fan of Marx Brothers. And
oh yeah,
I heard a story one time that in the winter of their years, every day Groucho would still call Chico, even just for like 5 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever, just to say hi, rib him a little bit.
That's cool.
They go back and forth. I want to believe that you and Buzz are the same way. Do you guys talk every day?
Pretty much, yeah. He called me. I think it was this morning, saying, "Hey, did you see that the Nirvana baby is suing everybody?" So yeah, I mean, we do like call each other, just to like shoot the shit or whatever. We can actually hang out with each other and we don't hate each other's guts,
Mm-hmm. Do you guys fight about anything? Is there anything you disagree on?
No, not really. No, I mean, no, not really. I might disagree with something, but not like, I'm putting my foot down type of thing at all. I mean, it's not nothing like that at all.
Yeah. So, for example, the concept of Five-Legged Dog comes up. Let's do an acoustic album. You're like, yep, let's do it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's a lot of times where it'll be like some idea where you're just like kind of scratching your head going, really? I don't, like, I know, let's do 50 shows in a row. We'll do every state. Oh, and we'll throw in one more. We'll do 51 shows, and we'll do DC as well. It's like, really? God, that sounds, wow. Can we? That's just stupid. We can't do that. How could we possibly do that? Or it sounds scary or whatever. Like, I don't know. But then it's like, no, we could actually do that. That'd be no problem. And then we did it, and it wasn't a problem. It wasn't. I mean, it was just a big goofy idea to get a lot of attention.
A stunt.
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, I often there'll be like times where it's like, we'll come up with some idea that just sounds ridiculous, just almost like a joke or something, and then we actually do it. I mean, that was one of those, doing that tour or whatever.
So someone will come up with an idea, and then it'll just sometimes percolate. Maybe everyone needs to sit on it and think about it for a couple days. And
well, like with that one, when we came up with the idea of doing the 51 shows in 51 days, we were actually on tour with Trevor Dunn, where he was playing stand-up bass with us.
Right.
Which that in and of itself was kind of a somewhat bold decision to like, okay, well, people, when they hear that idea, like, oh, they're going to do a thing called Melvins Light with stand-up bass. It's like, well, how is that going to work? But then when you see it, it's like, oh, that really works well. So we're doing some shows, and Buzz gets this idea, and then he calls our booking agent, and he was just like, there's no way. No, you can't possibly do that. That just seems impossible. How would you do that? How would we even book that? And it's like, well, I mean, we can book it. We don't have to book it for it to start tomorrow. I mean, we can plan this thing, a year in advance. Anyway, I think our booking agent hung up the phone, kind of puzzled and stunned at our idea, and then called not too long later going, you know what? This is a really good idea, and I mean, he and Buzz worked on booking the whole thing a year in advance. Some of the shows, I mean, we're playing states that we never play because there's no place to play. So a place like Wyoming, I think the venue changed 3 times before we actually had something solid.
Right. Give me an example of an idea that was thrown out that seemed good but never came to pass.
Yeah, there's probably lots of those. I mean, I don't know if I should say because it might still happen. But I don't know. I mean, we've done all kinds of different things, like collaborations with different people, and still do things like that. I'm trying to think. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess even just going back to the idea of doing this acoustic record, it was a pretty adventurous thing to do. We knew we wanted to do something really big, not just a single record, but a whole giant set of songs. The thing is 2.5 hours long.
36 songs. So I'm assuming at some point you began with an idea of 50 songs and whittled that down, or did it start small and go up?
No, it was just like, let's just start recording.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it did. I mean, everything we record relatively quickly. Like with the song, we would rehearse it till we got it or close enough, and then hit record and let's go. And all of a sudden, I'm like, those guys go, oh, we got like, 30 something songs. It's like, what? We recorded that many songs? No way. Unbelievable. I kind of don't even remember doing it. It went by so quick.
Are you pretty much releasing everything you recorded, or were there parts where you're like, we'll save this one for later?
I think everything, but then again, I don't know. We seem to always use everything. Even recording songs, sometimes we're like, well, we're going to edit this at the end. All this stuff's not going to be there, but then we never really do.
Right.
All that extra stuff that we were going to chop off just ends up staying there for whatever.
Some single B-side or some crazy thing.
There might be some stuff like that. I don't know,
Mm-hmm. Was Five-Legged Dog a response to COVID and lockdowns? Was it an idea that it was time because everyone was in the same place and that was possible? What was the thinking behind it?
Well, we probably would have done another record, like regular album of new songs, and then gone on tour. But we kind of knew that touring was out of the question, and we didn't want to do that. We didn't want to do, we didn't want to do a record of new songs and then not have any way to go support it. Right. So this one made a little bit more sense.
Okay.
To do something like this. We won't be touring until next year.
Because I've seen out of Melvins a lot of reissues coming as well. So it seems to be this is a time where the band's probably reflecting on the history, and now's the time to put out things that haven't been put out.
Yeah, we probably would have done that anyway.
Okay.
I think. But certainly I think that there was the opportunity of like, okay, well, nothing's going on right now. Let's do this. Let's keep the whole thing going.
Right.
And whatnot, Yeah, then we released one of the records that got released was a senile animal. And somehow I didn't get a test pressing myself, not to throw anybody under the bus at all here, but one of the songs got left off of it. one of the important songs called Civilized Worm, which is kind of one of the best songs on the record.
Yeah.
So there's versions that we'll fix it, obviously, but somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the story you got on that? Because I'll tell you, I got one of those records, the misprint ones. And,
good.
And Ipecac is
certainly it's a collector's item.
I'm sure it will be. I'm not worried about it. And Ipecac said we'll make good on it. And I said, don't worry. I'll get another copy of the right one. That's fine.
Of course you will.
Collector nerds love
if you're a vinyl collector, you're not going to send yours back and get the new copy.
Yeah.
So, but I saw some couple people were like thinking maybe we did that on purpose. It's like, no. Like I said, that's one of the best songs on the record. We wouldn't have purposely left that off.
Right. Okay.
So it was just a screw up. It happens.
It seems to be there's a lot of checkpoints where that could have been worked out in the process.
Probably, but you know what? Even if I did have the vinyl, I would have thrown it on and probably not even noticed myself. You know, but I'm because I'm close to it or whatever. You know, I probably would have put it on just to make sure it sounds okay. Okay, that sounds fine, and then I probably wouldn't have even listened to the whole thing.
Right.
You know, Buzz doesn't have a turntable, so he wouldn't have been able to check it himself. And, you know, it happens. It happened.
Years from now, everyone will be thankful it did because those records will probably be $400.
Yeah, I know. Right. And they got one.
So, are there plans to put out any other reissues? Freak Puke, maybe? Trey Cabrones?
Oh, I don't know. On vinyl, you mean, in particular? Or just... I don't know. I'm trying to think what's coming down the pike. I mean, there might be some other plans. We'll see. I mean, the stuff that we're working on, as far as the vinyl reissue, though, I'm not sure. I don't know if you know this, but there's kind of a backlog as far as printing vinyl right now because everybody and their brother made a record during COVID. So they're saying like 11 months to get stuff printed. So our next thing might take a little bit of time, but at the same time, we know that nobody else is going to be making a record as soon as we do the next time, and there won't be a problem in about a year. You know?
Well, I noticed Five-Legged Dog, the digital files are coming out, and CDs are coming out in October, I think, and the vinyl's not out until almost February.
Oh, wow.
That's all right. We'll wait.
Well, yeah.
You know?
Sure.
got it through Bandcamp, so we'll wait for the physical copies. We got to wait to listen to it until then.
Yeah. Do you listen to Is Bandcamp your listening style?
It kind of is when I'm in the car, when I'm out and about, and I like also Bandcamp just supporting the bands. You know, Bandcamp Friday. Sure. I'm always hopping on, and if a band's willing to commit themselves to vinyl, I'm giving it extra attention, and I'll support if I can.
Oh, that's cool. I'm an Apple. I have an iTunes thing myself. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a giant record collection and CDs and DVDs and VHS and all that stuff. But I mean, mostly I listen to stuff on my phone. I mean, you know, it's hard to play records in the car. So.
Oh, of course. I always think it's try before you buy. I'll listen to the stream, and then if I really like it, then I want to hear more, then I'll get the record. I'll just commit to it. Right.
I like the immediateness of like being, you know, I mean, even when I was younger, like I didn't have a bunch of money to spend on records, you know, like, and I think now to be able to get something instantaneous like that and discover all this music is pretty incredible, you know. All I can really point to is my daughter who, like I said, I have an iTunes account. It's a family account. And I'm like, here you go. You can listen to basically anything you want, any kind of music you want to, and I'll start you out. Here's some cool records. And, you know, she likes some stuff. And now just like her musical knowledge is incredible, you know, or I'll hear her listening to something and go, wait, what is that? You know, and it'll be some obscure, like song from somebody, but it's pretty cool. You know, to see, and I don't know if every kid is like that, but like she's really just interested in discovering new music, and we'll ask about stuff, and you know, never pushed her on anything at all. I mean, I play music, and if you're there, you're listening to it, but I was never like, you know, you gotta like this, you know, or that stuff's crap, or anything like that. You know, just let her figure out what her own thing, you know. And you know, we have some pretty funny conversations. There was a funny one today about Weezer and Radiohead.
A comparison.
It was a type of person that would like those bands.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. I can't remember. There was it was a funny thing, and I can't remember what she said, but it was yeah, like a certain type of person, male, that would like Weezer, Radiohead. There was one other band too. So I'm like, well, is that a bad thing or a good thing? You know, but I don't know. It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny.
I've got my kids have Apple as well, and immediately when they got access to streaming songs, they went straight for the hardcore rap. It was like a beeline.
Wow.
They wanted to hear that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what do you do? And then it took a while, but
like gangster rap, like NWA, or
they finally got to NWA. They started with some other artists that I wasn't even sure of, right? And when I listened to it, I try to listen without judgment, but there were times where I was asking them, what are you getting out of this? But then after months, maybe years now, I'm sure it's years. Now they're starting to revert back to what I would consider some classics, right? It's like I hear them like, "Oh, you're listening to Pink Floyd? I didn't expect that." Or Nirvana. It's like, okay, all right,
That's the big one. That's the big one for her. And me being close to that stuff, I'm not like blasting Nirvana all the time. I like that stuff, but you know what I mean? It's like, or listening to. I mean, I like listening to my own music or whatever. But just being close to that stuff, I didn't. I told her about my involvement with the band, but never, she discovered the band on her own.
Right.
And then became really interested, and then I could tell her about stuff. So,
okay.
So that's kind of cool, and she's like, the other day, she was just like, man, there's so many kids with their Nirvana shirts at my school. And it's like, some of them, I look at them, I'm just like, you don't know anything about Nirvana.
So when you listen to things like Bleach, can you hear yourself, and do you judge kind of how you were drumming at the time, or can you now hear it as a completed piece? Do you have space from it to where you can enjoy it without, picking it apart?
We'll be back after these messages.
Hey there, do you know who just got a ton of used records up for sale? AudiofileUSA.com. They have over 42,000 titles in their online shop, all excellent and near mint condition. They do not screw around with records of mid-tier quality. Only the best vinyl makes it to AudiofileUSA.com. So you know that when you buy from them, all your records will be of supreme quality. AudiofileUSA.com is family-owned and operated, high-quality stock, and they love music, the exact type of businesses we love to support. Just point your browser to AudiofileUSA.com, search, dig, and find the gold. That's AudiofileUSA.com, home of the Holy Grails. Oh yeah, and don't forget to wash your record grooves with the Groove Washer, the #1 vinyl record cleaner in the world. Bring out the best sound for your vinyl experience by using the Groove Washer before each play. Ask for the Groove Washer by name at your local record shop and accept no substitutes. Or if you can't make it to the store, go to groovewasher.com and use discount code VinylGuide10 at checkout and save on everything you buy. Don't wait, your vinyl experience will be immediately uplifted by using the Groove Washer. That's groovewasher.com, discount code VinylGuide10. Go now!
Now we return to the program, already in progress.
No limits.
When you listen to things like Bleach, can you hear yourself, and do you judge kind of how you were drumming at the time, or can you now hear it as a completed piece? Do you have space from it to where you can enjoy it without, picking it apart?
Oh, I don't know. I don't really go back and listen to it or whatever, really. Some of the stuff I can tell. The stuff that I recorded with them was just their first demo, and it was done in a day. We actually went and played a show that night, but we went and recorded every song they had, like 10 songs or whatever. And quickly, very quickly. And some of them you can tell, like we put on a big pot of coffee and I remember gulping a big handful of espresso beans, chocolate covered espresso beans. And there's some parts where I just like go, ooh, take right off of the song, like, oop, I've lost it, I'm gone, and there wasn't any do-overs, it was just like, a demo. Actually, they made a demo so they could get a drummer. That was the deal.
Yeah.
But to record all their songs.
That demo, the Fecal Matter demo, right?
No, even the first Nirvana demo,
Oh, okay.
That's the one I was talking about.
Is it strange to think that those demos, the Fecal Matter tape and the Nirvana demo, these were things that were not really meant to be heard by more than maybe 20 people. It just, there was
Probably,
yeah. And now they're on CDs and they're being, reviewed and assessed by millions of people around the world. Is that strange?
Right. Well, like I wish that the fecal matter demo would have an official release, because I could certainly write some great liner notes for the whole thing and probably provide some stuff for artwork. How and rather than it being a bootleg. So I mean, I don't know how many people would be really interested in that thing at all, but probably enough to do something cool. That whole thing was just Kurt and myself, nobody else involved in it. But I guess what I was talking about was the band's first demo before. Well, they weren't even called Nirvana yet, but I mean, those, it was the band at the time. I played with them so they wanted to record all their songs professionally, and then we did that, and then went and played a show that night.
Right. Now, was this the session with Jack and Dino or a different one?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now, you appear on 3 songs on Bleach. So those weren't all recorded on
that demo.
Those are from that demo. Okay. And Fecal Matter, you mentioned, it'd be nice if it got released one day. That's up to Courtney Love / Nirvana.
It would be
incorporated.
Yeah, it would be up to her probably. Yeah.
Okay.
I think her. I mean, it's I believe, or maybe Francis. I don't know. But what would be cool, and I don't know if that exists or not, but I mean, tapes would be pretty old by now, but hopefully his aunt kept that tape.
Oh, the original 4-track.
Certainly like the original. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you don't know where that.
I don't know. I have no idea. No, I mean, Kurt didn't take it. I think. I don't think. I think that he probably would have we probably just made cassette copies of the recording and left with that. And then any of the other ones that are out there right now are like probably, duped copies and don't sound as good as it could. I mean, it wasn't a great recording to begin with, but I mean, at the least you can see, kind of the beginnings of his songwriting.
How many of those original tapes were made in that first, the legitimate ones, we'll say?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, we probably when we did it made a few cassette copies, like, I don't know, maybe probably a handful to give to friends, and then whatever came from that probably got copied. I don't even think I have an original copy. I probably got a dupe tape from someplace.
Okay.
But I mean, that's on YouTube, so you can go on and
yeah,
probably the best quality you can find.
So there may be like 20 originals or something like that.
I bet even less than that. I'd say less than that.
I saw in the J card of the cassette there were the phone numbers, yours and his. Did anyone ever call him?
No. They might have called him. No, I mean, well, that's the tape that Kurt heard, or Chris heard, and that's how they started. That at least got Chris to play with them.
Got it. Okay.
And at the time, Chris was living in Phoenix. I can't remember the story. Like, all of a sudden he moved away and then he came back. So, and when he came back, he started playing with Kurt.
Got it. I got a friend of mine here in Australia, who
you're in Australia. That's right.
Yeah. And,
I forgot
Bon Scott was a friend of theirs, and he was kind of living on couches. He didn't really have a place to stay because he was always touring. And when he took off for the UK in 1979, he left like a bag of clothes and a bunch of stuff at this guy's house, and he still has all this clothing of Bon Scott's and all this stuff.
Wow.
Do you have any similar things? Things that Kurt just kind of left around, and you're like, oh God, this is his coffee cup or whatever.
I might.
Yeah.
Oh, I might. I never throw away anything, but
it sounds like you do, but you don't want to say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
For now, I won't say.
Okay, you won't say.
I mean, I will say that I'd still have letters that he sent me and things like that. So, funny enough, that his journals came out, Kurt Cobain journals, And I was at a bookstore and I had no idea. And I opened it up, and the first thing in there is a letter to me that I never got. When I saw that, like a week previously, I found this postcard that I never sent him. That was right around that same time period. But I realized too that, I have a letter that he sent that was, what had happened is some other shit happened from that first letter, and that he wanted to talk about, and so he didn't send me the first one and revised it, But the one in the journal is really funny because he talks about how he went to clean his refrigerator out and clean the freezer and took a hammer to it, hit the Freon tank and started spraying gas all over the place. And so, the moral of the story is, if you're going to defrost your freezer, don't use a hammer. So I thought that was pretty funny. He was a funny guy.
Yeah. Oh, it seems like it. And you guys were cool up through the end?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
I've got a record. It's a Melvins Nirvana split on the Communion label. Here She Comes Now, Venus and Furs.
Uh-huh.
What's the story of that single?
I guess we were doing a split. I can't remember why, or whose idea it was to do Velvet Underground songs. At the time, I think I was the only one in the Melvins that really knew a lot about the Velvet Underground. Which is why our version of Venus and Furs is what it is. Which is noisy. I mean, it's fitting. A fitting version, I think. It's my debut and only performance of playing trumpet on record.
So the Communion label, do you know how many of those were made?
I don't.
Yeah. They have
Discogs, wouldn't they?
Look, no, they don't. Here's my copy.
Really?
Yeah. And
okay.
Everyone, all you get is kind of estimates, like, we think 1,000 went out, but and then they're different colors and things like that. So it's nothing fact related, put it that way.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah. Be hard to believe too, who knows?
Right. Okay. That's what
I have one.
What's your most collectible record that you have?
Ooh, I don't know. Well, I have the first Nirvana single. What's that worth?
Which one is
I
that?
have the first Nirvana single.
The Sub Pop one?
Yeah. I have the first Nirvana single with homemade stickers.
Oh, okay. All right.
And probably a letter that goes with it. What's that worth?
On the market, it'd probably be $5,000.
I'll take $100,000. But then it's my personal copy, so I'll take $100,000. What do you think? I don't think people will go for that, huh?
I don't know.
What about 10?
You could put that. You'll put it out there. We'll see what happens.
$100,000. I'll even sign it.
You'll sign it, Kurt.
I will.
Yeah.
As far as you know, it's already signed, Kurt.
Well, actually, I tell you what, the real expensive one is the promo. I think that has a red slash around the number.
Ooh.
It's like 0 or 12 of 500, 24 of 500.
Okay.
I think the promo ones had a red slash. I think. So yeah, if you have that, whoa,
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a
I
mortgage lifter right
don't,
there.
But, oh, really?
So, all right, actually, let me show you one of my prized possessions here. Recognize this gentleman?
Right on.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I've even got the Steven one. These are the AMREP versions, for those listening. AMREP versions of the solo albums, the 1992 Boner Records solo albums. As a band in 1992 on a label like Boner Records, how difficult was it to talk them into doing a solo album approach? 3 albums, 3 releases, artwork, posters, everything in there.
Oh yeah. Oh, they were down with our dumb idea,
Mm-hmm.
I think we did well we did good for the label. They're a great label. We still are. Those records are still in print on Boner. We're still good friends with Tom Flynn, who who runs the label, and I think at the time we were selling records pretty good, so he was fine with doing that.
Okay.
I think they did okay.
Each record selling well. Why not release 3?
Well, I mean, I think that he did. We made money off of it. It was fine. He was like I said, he was down with our dumb ideas, and we all did good.
I mean, those are absolute spot on parodies. The kids on the cover of Houdini, are they the same kids from Gluey Porch Treatments?
Oh gosh, I didn't even think about that. Yes.
Okay. That's commitment.
Sure. Of course they are. Right.
Okay. The trilogy, Maggot, Bootlicker, and Crybaby, was all that material recorded first and then separated into 3 albums, or was each record kind of focused and just became part of that trilogy?
Yeah, we recorded that at Louder Studios, which was Tim Green. Tim was in Nation of Ulysses and the Champs, which became the Fucking Champs. And he had a recording studio in his house in San Francisco, not too far from where I lived there when I lived there. And came up with another brilliant idea of signing to a new label and talking them into doing 3 records with just a little space in between them. We had no label at the time. We're off Atlantic. We were talking to Relapse with the same idea, which they probably thought we were out of our heads. But Ipecac was a new label that was starting up, and when we told them what we wanted to do, they said that sounds great. And so we recorded the Maggot first, which was the more heavy metal sounding record, where every song ends with the listener thinking and running for the volume knob, worrying about their speakers. My speakers! Because every song just ends just going. And so we did that record, finished it, and then tore down and said, now we're going to do this record, and it's going to be completely light, and we're not going to use any amplifiers at all. And that was the Bootlicker, and it was way more different vibe, And we recorded that whole record, and then broke down, and then okay, now we're going to record more of a fun fuck around record with guest stars, and we can do covers and stuff like that. So yeah, it was back to back to back.
When you guys are doing songwriting and making these concepts, do you have the concept first and then write the material around it, or do you come up with a lot of ideas through rehearsal and through just experimenting and screwing around?
Back then, for those records, all the songs were done. Well, we didn't live in the same city, so we didn't have a lot of time to rehearse. I'm trying to think, but we did rehearse for those, and practice each one individually. Nowadays, we have our own studio, and say with the new record that we're doing, we would do the acoustic thing that's coming out. We would rehearse the song until we got it down good enough, and then just go for it. And that's kind of the way that we do new stuff now too. We'll work on a song till we think we got it, and then we'll just start recording it. We didn't used to be able to have that luxury before, because we didn't own a studio, and studio time is expensive. So we did a lot more rehearsing, and we were a lot more prepared before going into the studio to record. I like the way we do it now. I like having the time, not having to worry about being on the clock. So it takes that pressure away. And even just like where we record is where we rehearse. So it's super comfortable.
When you guys are not touring on a regular year, a non-COVID year, are you guys down at the studio several times a week? What's generally the schedule that you guys put yourself on? There's got to be something going on, or usually we don't get together unless we're working on something, a record or getting ready to tour or anything like that. So rarely do we just go, hey, just want to jam. There's always some kind of plan. Right. With this acoustic record, you're thinking about tour dates in 2022, again, hoping that does happen.
Yeah.
Would it be an acoustic tour?
No, I don't think so. Though I would love to do something like that, or at least do a show or two. I'm sure we will. I mean, like I said, that setup is almost like acoustic setup we've done for in-stores and things like that. Almost in the same exact fashion. Buzz playing acoustic guitar. Steven, he's not playing. He's playing an acoustic bass, but he's playing a Hofner bass. Semi hollow body.
Is Steven pretty much a member of Melvins now?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. Keith Morse was on the show not long ago, and he was talking about the recordings, the demos that happened for Off, and he mentioned that you had participated in some of those demos.
I did. Well, I think they were supposed to be the record, but I don't know.
Okay. Was it always going to be a session contribution, or were there any talks of you kind of joining up with them on playing some shows?
Yeah, I was kind of going to be their drummer up until a point, and then their ideas changed. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll leave that there. Crystal Fairy. I absolutely love that album. Right on the verge of you guys going out on tour, everything got called off.
Yep.
What happened with Crystal Fairy?
Well, we were having trouble dealing with the other band members of the band. Mm-hmm. And it was becoming frustrating to us. And then we realized that this really wasn't going to work out. And Buzz decided that he wanted to quit. So, well, there you go. Yeah. Unfortunate, because I really like that record. I like the music that we made with them. But, yeah.
We won't see a follow-up then.
Bummer.
Okay.
No, I wish. I mean, I'm really happy with what we did, and I was hoping we were fully committed to like just putting the Melvins on hold for a bit and working with that band, because we really liked what we'd done with them. I really liked that project, and was really hoping that we would have done something, something more.
All right. Well, it's a one and done, it looks like. When it comes to collectibles, in recent years, gig posters have started becoming very popular and collectible. How do gig posters work? Yeah. As you guys go out on tour, if there's 30 dates, who reaches out to the different artists? How do those gig posters come together? Yeah,
there's this company called Secret Serpents, and it's Alan Forbes' company, I guess, artist Alan Forbes. And they work with a bunch of other artists making posters for lots of other shows. So they're kind of the ones that farm out the work to the artists, and the artists will make a poster. They get a certain number of the posters that they can sell on their own, as does the company, and then we get posters to sell at the show. So,
all right. So Secret Serpents, they handle all the fulfillment and everything. You guys just get the posters before the gig.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully. Sometimes they don't show up.
Okay, or they show up 3 dates too late.
Yeah.
What happens when the dates change or the venue changes? Is that's someone else's problem?
Then the poster becomes the poster becomes totally rare and collectible. The show that never happened.
So you guys understand collectors quite well. What's the thing that annoys you most about people who collect Melvin stuff? I don't know. Don't try to be a gentleman.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, there's always there's always somebody that has a complaint about something, like, oh, I really like this thing, but it's like, okay, hold it right there. Hold your butts. But I mean, but otherwise, I mean, I don't know. Or everybody's kind of a know-it-all, I guess. But that's the collector world. Everybody knows everything. So other than that, I'm not too bothered.
Right. I see you've started to create these very unique records. I think with Joyful Noise, the ones that are 12-sided records, and those. How did those ideas come? Did someone come to you and say, "Look, I've got this idea, this wacky thing"? Did it come from you? How did it come together?
Yeah, it's joyful noise themselves. Like they've been doing these weird lathe cut things, and they just want to see how crazy they can get with it. The 12-sided record with the multiple spindle holes, or like they made one that looks that's actually like lathe cut into like metal. They made it look like a cymbal. It'll actually play, but I mean, I don't know if you want to destroy your needle on that. I mean, I think it's just like they're really good at coming up with ideas that seem impossible and executing them as well.
Each one of them is a run of 127. Why 127?
I don't know. It's the magic number for whatever reason. I think mostly to make people wonder why. Or either that, or they just get to that many and they're just like, I don't want to do anymore. This sucks, because all those are like, in real time. One, they got to, one lathe cut in real time. 1, 2, and I mean, it just takes hours and hours.
Yeah.
I think 127 hours.
Okay. I can see why you'd want to stop it. I'd want to stop at 30, quite frankly. But
yeah, I know.
Okay. So 127 is some magic number that someone's picked for whatever reason. Not sure.
Yeah. I'm not sure what its meaning is, but it means something.
Now, do you collect Melvins? Do you have all the Melvins material and things? Yeah.
I try to keep one of everything. I might be missing a few things though.
So when anything comes out, you're like, okay, one for me, one for Buzz, maybe one for Steven, and then the rest. Right. Are you involved in any of the discussions or planning with AMREP and those releases, like even color choices or preferences or artwork, that sort of thing?
Buzz probably more than me, but I mean, I think we probably leave a lot of the stuff up to Tom. He's got. I mean, we like his art sensibilities and what he does, and which is one of the reasons why we work with him.
Yeah, he's a good guy to trust.
He does a great job with all that stuff too.
So why is the new album called Five-Legged Dog?
There's a dog theme that seems to be running with our stuff, and I don't know. I mean, usually it's just like, oh, what do you think of this song or this record title? It's like, oh, that sounds good. I don't know if it came from one place in particular, but yeah, usually it's like, oh, that sounds good.
How involved are you in the merch, or is that something that Buzz tends to handle majority?
I mean, artwork wise, we leave it up to Mackie. He and Mackie pretty much. I mean, I'll be shown things and just like, hey, what do you think of this? It's like, I'm pretty easygoing. I always like everything. Okay.
Is there ever anything, any concept you were like, that does not work for? Yeah, nah. Any?
Nothing that I can think of right offhand. I mean, there's certainly, like with some of the posters that we get, like we don't tell the artists what to do, and sometimes they're not my favorite looking poster in the world, but I don't want to tell somebody what to do. That's it.
Do you have a particular favorite poster that sticks out in your mind? Like, oh, that one's beautiful. I'd put that in my wall right away.
Well, there's a Junko Mizuno gets to do a lot of posters, and I've liked her artwork and loved her stuff even before she did posters for us. So I'm always excited when she has a poster coming out. There's a few other people like that too. Tara McPherson, I really like her stuff. There's always a few people that I'm excited to see what their poster is going to be, because they do it. They always do it. They always do a good job.
Is there a Melvins album aside from Five-Legged Dog that you look towards as like, that's your favorite work you've done with the Melvins?
Yeah, I mean, it changes all the time for me. So I don't know. I mean, even I don't know. I apologize for none of it, and I like it all, and I'm always into it when we're doing it at the time. I don't often look back because we always look forward to the next thing, So yeah, I don't know. Okay. Tough to say if there's one thing over another,
Fair enough.
I like our new stuff that we're working on now that you haven't heard yet.
Okay, when do you think we can hear it?
Sometime soon.
You are a steel trap.
Well,
right.
we got this new thing first, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Dale, thank you so much for playing with us here on the Vinyl Guide. You've added a few new bricks to the retaining wall of knowledge that we're building here. Again, lots of Melvins collectors like myself out there. We clamor at every detail, so thank you for that. I want to remind everyone, Five-Legged Dog is available to pre-order now, or depending on when you hear this podcast, you may be able to listen right away. It's on CD and streaming October 15th, and on vinyl. You need to order your vinyl now if you're going to have it in January, just because all the pressing plants are backed up. So if you're going to get a copy, you haven't ordered yet, do it now. You can go to ipecac.com. You go to Bandcamp, grab it there. And of course, then you'll also not only get the vinyl and the download the moment it's available. Fantastic retrospective of Melvin's career up to this point. And Dale, thank you so much for joining us here on the show.
Thank you for having me again. Appreciate your interest in our band.
There we go. We have been graced by Dr. Crover. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Vinyl Guide. And don't forget, I am posting all sorts of rare Melvin stuff from my collection on our Instagram page. You can find us and follow us at Vinyl Guide. And if you've got some rare Melvin stuff as well, or actually any other products that Dale and or Buzz could be involved in, post them and tag us at Vinyl Guide. I'd be keen to see what you have. And again, don't forget Five-Legged Dog, melvinsofficial.bandcamp.com. And that's it for this episode of the Vinyl Guide. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, you want to help support this podcast? We've got a Patreon page, patreon.com/Vinyl Guide. Go up there, help support the show. You get access to all sorts of extended interviews, secret episodes, and more. In fact, this interview with Dale Crover was available for well over a week, commercial free as well. So head up to patreon.com/Vinyl Guide, and thanks in advance for your support. We'll be back shortly with a brand new episode. So until we talk next time, get out there and buy some records, people. Cheers.